glancing that direction, it's because there's a window right here that doesn't have blinds on it or curtains, and my neighbor is mowing his lawn and his toddler has like a little toy lawnmower and it's like following him around, and it is like the straight up cutest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. So I will probably get distracted and look out the window several times during this video. Ariadne, and today I am coming to you from this very echoey room to give you my reading wrap up for the months of June and July. Just a short little explanation on the space and the echo and the everything else. My boyfriend and I recently decided to paint this current room that I'm in, and we're going to move all of our office stuff from the room that I was filming in to this room. We're still in the process of moving everything over, but the couch moved, so I moved because I only film on this couch. And we don't have everything moved in here yet, so it's a little bit echoey. This light switch doesn't have a cover on it right now, so you can enjoy staring at that ugly thing if you would like to. But yeah, I think that is all of the programming notes as far as why I'm in a new space with a different wall and a lot more echo. Already starting off on a great chaotic foot. The months of June and July, I read a total of 6 books, which is much less than the 17 I read in April and May. I don't know if I'd necessarily call it a reading slump because I really enjoyed everything I read, like quality-wise. It was still a great period of reading. I just didn't happen to read that much. So we will go ahead and get started with the first book I read in June, which was Dune. I read this partially physically and also with the audiobook. I would listen to my audiobook on the way to work, and I would read this physically in my off hobby time. I bought this book probably 3 years ago with the best intentions of reading it, but the length and the legacy, I guess, of Dune always intimidated me a little bit. With the movie coming out, that finally gave me the kick in the pants to check this out before, you know, a blockbuster adaptation of it came out. And as I was reading through it, I realized that there has already been a bit of a blockbuster adaptation of Dune. And you know what? I don't think I'm gonna actually get hate for this take. Star Wars is just Dune. They're the same. They are one and the same. Star Wars and Dune, the same. I thought George Lucas came up with this entire fantastical world on his own. It's just Dune. Obviously, it's not exactly the same, but all of the things that are cool about Star Wars and noteworthy and memorable about Star Wars, it's in this book. George Lucas just straight up ripped off this book. And I mean, there's an obvious reason why this book has stood the test of time. It is an incredible world to delve into. It is a bit of a slog. I will give George Lucas that one. His plot is a little more streamlined, a little bit easier to follow, a little bit more for us simple-minded folk, if you will. But I did really enjoy reading this. Probably won't pick it up again anytime soon because it is a bit of a slog, but I am glad I read it. So I think probably 3.5 to 4 stars on Dune. The next book I read, I have a physical copy of, but not on me currently, and that is One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. I talked about this book, I think in like a tag video or something, maybe? I think maybe in my mid-year freakout tag. I talked about One Last Stop, but I loved Red, White, and Royal Blue, so I picked up One Last Stop thinking it'd kind of be, you know, more of the same, but just kind of a fun, lighthearted romance with like a little bit extra. This book, I enjoyed it so much more in Red, White, and Royal Blue. It's not the same sort of, you know, light romance, but it has a lot more substance to it on top of the really fun characterization and romance that Red, White, and Royal Blue had. I also mentioned in the tag video that I talked about this prior that the reason I jumped on this book so quickly is because my mom wanted to read it, and she does not like sci-fi really at all, or like time travel. She's not too into like fantasy or sci-fi. So I read it first to make sure that the fantasy and sci-fi elements weren't too much to make her not enjoy the book. I decided that she would probably enjoy it. She called me yesterday and I think she said like chapter 10-ish, and she said she was really enjoying it so far. She loves the characters. She loves Casey McQuiston's ability to make you fall in love with random characters that you have nothing in common with, which I think is very fair. I am going to be interested to see what the rest of her thoughts were, but I definitely enjoyed One Last Stop. I think it's an incredible ride. It's got a lot of intrigue, a lot of mystery. It's so compelling, and I enjoyed it so much. As you can tell by my gush, I think I gotta give this a 5 stars. Like, I love it. I'm gushing about it so much, and I really enjoyed it, and I think it's better than Red, White, and Royal Blue. The next book I ingested was Hidden Figures. I listened to this on audiobook. I think I would have enjoyed this more. I think this is a me problem for sure. I think I would have enjoyed this book more had I either read it physically or listened to it in, I guess, more of a single-minded way where I could like take notes on all the different women, or I don't know. For those who don't know, Hidden Figures is the story of the NASA computers. This book specifically focuses on a group of Black women who were a part of the East Computing Center at NASA in Virginia, and kind of their contributions to the space program as a whole, even before it was NASA, when it was still part of some military something. Before it was NASA. They also worked at the precursor to NASA. But basically their contributions to aeronautical science as a whole and to NASA specifically and getting us to the moon. I would have enjoyed this more had I think I'd read it physically, because you get to see the lives of so many different women, and it was really difficult for me to keep all of the different women that we were seeing or that we were learning about straight, just because there is so much overlap in the way they interacted, and a lot of their stories kind of start out in a similar way. So I liked it. It was cool learning about these women in science as a woman in STEM myself, but I struggled a little bit with keeping everything straight. The next book I read was Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. I did a full-on dedicated book review to Ariadne, so I will link that in the description box and in the cards. In short, I really did enjoy this book. I think there was a few things that kind of felt off a little bit. The author obviously did a ton of research to be able to retell this story in a new and fresh way, but I think because she had put so much time and effort into all of this research of different Greek mythologies and how they interact with the story of Ariadne and Theseus, she tends to just like landmines some like myths throughout the story, and it did kind of take me out of it when they would like all of a sudden go into this dialogue exposition of another well-known Greek myth, just because it was happening, you know, in kind of their contemporary environment. But I did really enjoy this. This was, you know, a high 3-4 star for me, and if you are interested in Greek mythology, I think you would really enjoy it. I think you would probably enjoy it less if you have no Greek mythology background. The next book I read was When You Were Everything by Ashley Woodfolk. I read this for the Shelf This Book Club hosted by Is Bailey Reading. I participated in the live stream that our book club did for this book, so I will link to that live stream in the description box if you want to check out our kind of more in-depth thoughts on the book. But in short, this is a contemporary young adult novel about 2 young women in high school, and they are the best of friends, but as they grow into different types of people, they kind of have a falling out and it gets really nasty, and the main protagonist, one of these girls, has to kind of learn how to exist outside of this friendship that she has had for a very long time. To be completely honest, I was hate reading this book for a good majority of it, because I really did not agree with a lot of the actions that the main character was taking, but in the end, the main character kind of learns her lesson, grows as a human, and it really kind of 180'd the book for me. I think this is a really cool, important book, especially if you're actually in the target audience. If you are a young woman in high school, I think you will really enjoy this, and I think it's a really cool story to kind of see. There is, you know, a romance subplot, but the main plot focuses on friendships and how they can fall apart, or they can be rekindled, or you can create really great new different types of relationships as you're growing up. So I really enjoyed this. Again, I think this is another 4 to 4.5 star after I finished it and talked it through with some of the other women in the book club. Definitely recommend this book. And the last book I read for the month of July was The Space Between Worlds by Micaiah Johnson. I loved this book. This book was so much freaking fun. This book is exactly what I needed. I just really wanted to jump into a cool sci-fi adventure story, and this was 100% it. It was very fun, very cool. It is about a woman who works for this company that has developed the technology to travel to parallel Earths. So they are very similar to our own Earth, with just very minor differences along the way. And the only way you can travel to another Earth is if your doppelganger, your duplicate on another Earth, has passed away. Our main character has passed away on 300 plus other Earths, so she's had a very difficult background and gets kind of swept up in a political intrigue and all this other stuff, and it is so cool. It is a roller coaster of action, and I loved every second of it. And I am very happy to be ending this wrap up on a book that I can just gush about. I think if you enjoy sci-fi, you should definitely read this. It has got all of my favorite sci-fi tropes. We got a dash of dystopian, we got a dash of political intrigue. My dog is barking at ghosts, I think. My house is only 20 years old and I think it's haunted. Who are you barking at? He was just so excited about this book. He wanted to tell you about it too. So all in all, even though I didn't read a lot, I had a really good time with the books I read these last 2 months. So thanks so much for watching, and I will catch you on the next video.